Wanting to be thin. Our next guest struggled with weight as a child, but a stay at fat camp turned her life around. She went in overweight and came out reinvented. Here with a humorous look at her journey is the author of Moose, a memoir of fat camp, and the woman behind the world-famous blog, StephanieKlein.com. Please welcome Stephanie Klein. Hi, Stephanie. How are you?
Good to see you. I'm great. Thanks for having me.
The title Moose, that was your nickname, I heard.
Yeah, I heard it too all my life. Moose! Like that.
You're kidding. Who, your peers?
Yeah, the guys at school. When I was 13, girls throwing Hershey Kisses at my feet. Those kids can be cruel, as we all know.
How did that make you feel?
Oh, awesome. They were great.
Dumb question, ridiculous answer.
Well, you know, it's really hard. I think adolescence for anyone. It doesn't matter if you're the kid, you know, with the nickname Moose or the kid with the mole or the bad haircut. You know, adolescence is hard for a lot of us.
But I mean, when you write about this, you write about it with a touch of humor, and you obviously bring humor to the discussion. But I'm imagining that at that moment you had to feel like crap. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, each chapter of Moose, I begin with an actual diary entry from that time when I was 12 and 13, so it really did anchor me back to that past and those real moments of, you know, those raw emotions and the unhappiness that goes with it. But with time, you can add a little humor to it. And, you know, when my doctor came to me, I was pregnant with twins and said, well, you need to gain 50 pounds because you're pregnant with twins. And I said, if I gain 50 pounds, I'm going to weigh more than a Honda. Like, I'm going to weigh more than my husband, which is actually worse. Oh, my God. And, well, what's the big deal? It's for the health of the kids. Well, you don't understand. I grew up as the fat girl. So, you know.
And then you went to actually, was it called fat camp? It was called something else.
Well, they call it health camp or fit camp, but once you're an inductee in it, you know, you call it fat camp to take the sting out of it.
And you were actually looking forward to it.
Because you know, because at home you're teased constantly, and at least at fat camp, well, when I first got there, you get fat flocked, which is, you know, which I write about in Moose, where all these fat campers flocked around you and said, so, how much do you weigh? What are you doing here? And it was all out in the open, and no one was teasing you necessarily, but it was all of a sudden your social life, the opposite sex was interested in you, whereas at home, you're getting no action. So,
what did you hope to get out of that camp? I mean, what did you want to do after you finished it?
Well, I wanted not to sweat when I was climbing up, you know, a flight of stairs. I don't know that I went in wanting to be popular. You know, I wanted to be the popular girl. I wanted, you know, the girls at school to like me. I wanted maybe my father not to puff out his cheeks at the dinner table when I went in for seconds, and for the kids to stop calling me Moose. I just wanted to be normal.
So did all that change for you after fat camp?
Well, you'll have to read the book. But, you know, I think what actually happens in our lives, and this is not just about weight, we get what I call the someday syndrome, thinking, oh, well, someday when I lose weight, everything will be better, I'll be popular. Someday when I make more money, someday when my mother-in-law dies, then I'll be happy. And it doesn't work that way. You know, it really doesn't. And it is about figuring out, well, how can you live with yourself the way you are now? And you know,
did you come out reinvented?
You know, I did, in a way, because I did learn a bit of sensitivity. I think when you are a heavy child, and I think that that's a hard thing to accept as it is, and then being in a fat camp where you think, wow, I felt I'm on the thinner side of fat, and I kind of ruled the roost there. And I thought, I got to see both sides of it, what it was like to be the popular girl, and then also to return to a reality where I wasn't the popular girl anymore. And being on both sides of it, you do become more sensitive, and you wouldn't necessarily make fun of people again.
Yeah. You say this is not a self-help book.
It is not a self-help book. It is a funny, real book, and it makes you remember those Judy Blume kind of moments in your lives with the past notes after school and worried about if the boy likes you or if the cool girls are going to initiate a conversation with you. It's all of those childhood things, but it's also, you know, figuring out, now that I'm an adult, I'm a mother of twins, well, what am I going to do about, you know, raising my own children, and how am I going to make peace with it, and have I made peace with who I am? And figuring out daily, how am I going to make that peace with myself? Because it's not, oh, wow, I lost weight and now everything's better, and aren't I gorgeous inside? It's not that book.
It's not about that, yeah.
No.
So you should be so proud, because her books are just like getting such rave reviews, especially the first one, also your first one. And then this one is going to be, Moose is going to be made into a possible film, and then Straight Up and Dirty is
into a TV show. Yeah, it's really exciting. I was really sad to hear that Miss Piggy has a conflict, so she can't play me. But, you know, we're working on finding someone else.
one year?
I don't know yet.
You don't know yet?
That's really fun and an exciting time, and
Yeah.
I hear from so many people on my website, StephanieKlein.com, saying, God, I really love this, and I didn't grow up with a weight problem, and I didn't go to camp, but I love this because it made me think about my childhood, but also about what kind of mother I want to be to my own kids, because now I'm just figuring it out.
Yeah, many of the people who are regulars, visitors to your website, are not people who had the same problem.
Not at all.
But they're hooked on your stories, though.
Well, I write a lot about rejection and how we move on from rejection, no matter what it is. It's called Greek tragedy. It was because I didn't get into any sororities at school. None of them wanted
That's
me.
a Greek tragedy.
But it's done in a lighthearted but very real and honest way. And that's what my books are, Straight Up and Dirty and Moose. They're both very real.
And your blog, it's one of the most famous blogs in the world. 75 countries tap into it every day or something like that?
It's pretty insane. I get emails from tons of mothers and people all over the world, woman in Malaysia, a rural pastor in Georgia, just amazing.
Stephanie's going to be the keynote speaker at Blog Her Conference happening in San Francisco this weekend. She also has a book signing and talk this Sunday, July 20th at Book Passage at the Ferry Building in San Francisco. It's right at 2. More information on her website.
See you tomorrow.